السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله بنعمة تتم الصالحات الحمد لله على كل حال والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Uh, we welcome you, the respected brothers in Islam. We have been saying that inshallah we're going to have a talk concerning the liberation of the Palestinian. And this we've been passing, informing people over this. Inshallah, today is the day. And Alhamdulillah, our respected speaker is close to us here, Malan Abdul Hakim, which is going to take us through about what is happening to our brothers in Palestine. He's going to do justice to the topic, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. That's again today we have the opportunity of speaking to one another and putting up the reminder about the deen of Al-Islam and the Muslims. Allah has said it that constant reminder among the Muslims will always be beneficial to the Muslims. Today, inshallah, we'll be talking about the topic, the liberation of Palestine needs the Khilafah. There is no doubt about it that the current discussions among the Muslims in the medias and everywhere about the situation in Palestine is a topic of utmost importance. Is it in the intellectual world? Is it in the academic world? Is it in the media analysis? Or is it among the Muslims? So many khutbah in our different Jumat mosque and even for so many of the masajid during the Subi prayer and several other prayers, al-Qunut have been recited and prayers have been offered for the Palestinians and the people in the Palestinian region and Palestinian land. This becomes very important that for us as Muslims, we discuss the situation of the Palestine. We understand what is the background information about Palestine. How does the state of Israel come into being? And who are the Jews and the Zionists that everybody referred to as in the Israel of today? And what connects the Muslim world with the state of Palestine? Or the Palestine land. Because today, we are having some Muslims who says the situation even in Nigeria is enough for us. Inflation is biting so hard. There is Boko Haram in the northeast. There is bandits in the northwest. The economy is so bad. So why can't we just face the situation, our own situation in Nigeria? After all, Nigeria is a sovereign state and let Palestinians handle their own cause. These are all the issues that are coming up, and it requires the Muslim to really contextualize it and discuss it among the Muslims and offer solutions. As we all know, that Islam provides solutions to all global problems. So if there is any problem anywhere in any part of the world, it requires the attention of the Muslim as dawah carrier to really profile solution from Islamic perspective, from the Sharia perspective. That is then that we can truly say that Islam is the solution to the global problem. So, brothers, we will provide a background about who are the Jews and who are the Zionists, and how do we come about the state of Israel. From historical perspective, the Jews and the Zionists that we have always read of, the Bani Israel, the children of Israel, and all of these, they are closely related to Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. And from Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam down to Prophet Musa alayhi salam. And we all know about the historical antecedents of today's Egypt, how Musa and Pharaoh, how they have altercations, and then how Musa has moved the children of Israel, the Bani Israel, to liberate them from Pharaoh. And what was the reaction of the Bani Israel to Musa? At the end towards getting to the promised land, the Bani Israel told Musa that, oh Musa, we don't even know where you are taking us to again. You have always been talking about this, your Lord, you are taking us to your Lord. We don't believe in your Lord again. It is even better for Pharaoh to come and to come and persecute us. And then they turn back from Prophet Musa. So what we know very well from historical, from revelation perspective is the Jews of today are closely related to Prophet Ibrahim. The Jews and Bani Israel of today are also at a point in time they lived during the life of Prophet Musa. But at any of this time, they have always been opposing to the revelation from Allah. And they always turn their back against the prophet of Allah. And there is no doubt about it that as a result of this, the Jews have always been the wandering congregation, moving all over the world without having any leaders. Because anywhere they are always against the Sharia of Allah. They are always against the Prophet of Allah. They are always against anything related to whatever Almighty Allah has destined for them. And that is the reason why in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 87, Allah has made it very clear that وَلَقَدْ أَتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابَ وَقَفَيْنَا مِنْ بَعْدِهِ, down to the end of the verse, where Almighty Allah says, but is it not that every time a messenger came to you, O children of Israel, with what your soul did not desire, you were arrogant. And a party of the messengers that Allah sent to you, you denied them. And for some of the messengers of Allah, you killed them. That is the Bani Israel. That is the children of Israel, the Jews that we are talking about today. And in Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 78, Allah says, لُعِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ عَلَى لِسَانِ دَاوُودَ وَعِيسَى ابْنِ مَرْيَمَ ذَلِكَ بِمَا عَصَوْا وَكَانُوا يَعْتَدُونَ. Allah says, cursed were those who disbelieve among the children of Israel by the tongue of David and of Jesus, that is Isa, the son of Maryam. That was because they disobeyed and habitually transgressed against Allah. So Allah calls the Bani Israel, and as a result of the fact that Allah has put the curse of them, they have never have a place that they can call their home. You know, the Jerusalem of today is where Prophet Ibrahim was, where he built. And then also in the Egypt of today, where they were with Prophet Musa alayhi salam, they were also moved out of this place. And since that time, the Jews have always been wandering around. And when you look at the historical antecedents of today, even in so many research papers, it's documented how the Jews have been moving from one place to another because Allah has caused them, and anywhere they find themselves, they create problems, they create chaos on their host, and as a result of this, they will be expelled from that location. Let's quickly take some important dates, which are very evident in the research papers and in the documentation of history. In 1147, as far back as 1147, the Jews were expelled from France. Because since that time, they scattered all over the world. You see them in Ethiopia, you see them in Europe, you see them in North Africa, you see them in the Middle East, you see some of them in Israel. They have always been everywhere. And anytime they congregate in a particular location, they create problem for their host. And the host will have to pursue them that, no, we cannot live with you again. So in 1147, they were expelled from France. In 1290, they were expelled from England. In 1208, they were expelled from Switzerland. And in fact, hundreds of the Jews were documented to be hanged. They were hanged because of the problem they created in Switzerland. In 1360, they were expelled from Hungary. Hungary was formerly part of Germany, of the Hitler of those days. So in 1360, they were expelled from Hungary. In 1391, they were expelled from Spain, and 30,000 of them were executed, while 5,000 of them were burnt alive in Spain. In 1407, they were expelled from Poland. In 1492, in their life. In 1555, they were expelled from Portugal. In 1701, the Jews were completely expelled from Switzerland. And through the edict of Philip V, it was even put completely that no Jew should ever step their feet in Portugal again. That was 1701. In 1828, they were expelled from Kiev. We all know Kiev, right? Kiev, Kiev is very popular in the media today because of Ukraine and Russia war. So even in Ukraine, that is why at the peak of the Russia versus Ukraine, so you can hear some propaganda and some bits of information that Israel was supporting Ukraine because it was one of their origin before. They have stayed here before. So in 1828, they were expelled from Kiev in Ukraine. And in 1933, they were expelled from Germany. And in that 1933, in historical fact, up to today, it is being referred to as the genocide because the German really killed them, massacred the Jewish community in Germany. So that has been the way the Jews have been. Up till when? Up till 1948. The Jews have always been moving around. You see them in Ethiopia today, you see them in Jerusalem, you see them in Switzerland, you see them in England, you see them in France, you see them in Hungary, everywhere. And anywhere they congregate, they will create problem. At the end of the day, they will be sent out. So this is how the Jews have always been living their life. And when we say the Jews, it's like you are saying the Hausa clan or you are saying the Fulani clan. You know, they will occupy a particular belt. So you see them, you see the Hausa Fulani in Nigeria, you see in Chad, you see in Burkina Faso, you see in Ghana, you see them across the belt of the West Africa. It's the same thing that between the North Africa, the Middle East, down to Jerusalem and the land of Palestine, because the land of Palestine is called the Philistine. The people of those places are the Philistines. You see the elements of Jews across this belt. So, but there is nothing like the state of Israel. You only have the Bani Israel, like saying the Yoruba nation, the Hausa nation, the Fulani nation, who splintered everywhere. And anytime they try to congregate in a particular location, they cause problem and those people will pursue them. So there is no entity, political entity referred to as the state of Israel. What you have is the Jews, the Jewish congregation that is well known as the Zionist group. So that is how the Jews have been living their life up to the year 1948. So because today the issue is between the Israel, the Bani Israel, the Israel and the Palestine. What about Palestine? Because as Muslims, there is need for us to understand what is the background information about Palestine. It is well understood that the people that originally live in the land that is called Palestine today are the Philistines. And they have been there since for a long period of time, and it is even in record that up to the 12th century, it is the people of the Philistines who cut across so many beliefs. You find the Muslims, you find the Christians, you find some elements of Jews among them. And over the centuries, you see Jews, you see Muslims, you see followers of all other religions who are here. However, the place that is called Palestine today, it come under the Muslim control in the 7th century, 637 AD. And how does this happen? Exactly at around 5 years after the death of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, under the leadership, the Caliphate of Umar ibn Khattab. Umar ibn Khattab conquered Palestine in 637. And since that time, the Muslims have been governing the place called Palestine today. As we all know that in Egypt, you still have the Copt Christians who are in Egypt today, even despite the fact that Islam in Sharia is being ruled to organize the life affairs in Egypt. The same thing related to the region of Palestine. The Jews who are there, they are allowed to practice their religion. The Christians who are there, they are allowed to practice their religion. But the governance, just as all of us today, we are just living under the democracy. But whenever democracy contradicts Sharia, it will touch our personality. So the Muslims were ruling over the land of the Palestine. The Jews, some of the Jews were there. And let me take us step back a little bit. Before Umar ibn Khattab conquered Palestine, it was first under the Roman Empire, then the Persian Empire took over, the place that is called Palestine today. And then the Roman Empire under the Byzantine Empire also conquered the place called Palestine today, with everybody living under the regime that is ruling the place. And then Umar ibn Khattab conquered Palestine. And for centuries, we all know what centuries means. For hundreds of years, the Muslims are the one that were controlling the land of the Palestine, and the land of the Palestinians was under the rule of Sharia, under the rule of Islam. And between 1291 and 1516, the Mamluk, also under the Sharia, they were the one that were organizing the life affairs in Palestine. In 1516 to 1917, it was the Ottoman Empire that were ruling in the land of the Palestine. And between 1917 to 1948, it was the Muslim under the Ottoman Empire that was ruling in Palestine. And then in 1948, something very important happened in the land of the Palestine. And what is it that happens? The state of Israel was created in 1948. Now let's step back. If a state that will be called the state of Israel was created in the year 1948, it's just as if you want to look back. How many years back? Just 1948. And we all even know that around 1914, the Lord Dugard and all of these people stepped into Nigeria. They identified Nigeria and they call Nigeria Niger area and all of this. So if a state, a country, just happened to come into existence in 1948, and there is nothing like that before, then something must tell us that what actually led to the creation of the state of Israel. So now, what happened to the creation of the state of Israel? The creation of the state of Israel came into being as a result of what is called Balfour Declaration in international relations. What is Balfour Declaration? You know, immediately after 1917, the British Empire, as a result of the fact that they were conquering land after land, they took over the land of the Palestine from the Muslims, because the Khilafah was destroyed immediately after the First World War. So, and when the Khilafah was destroyed, then the Muslims were everywhere. There is no unity, there is no leadership for the Muslim world again. So the land of the Muslims were being distributed among the superpowers. Who are the superpowers of that time? The Britain and the France. So it was like, oh, you Britain, take Nigeria. Iraq, France, take it. Iran, British, take it. Jordan, France, take it. Lebanon, you take this. That was how they were distributing the land of the Muslims, because the unity, the leadership of the Muslim has been destroyed at the end of First World War. So the land of the Palestine that was under the Muslim ruling was given to the British. So the British were the ones who were organizing the life affairs in the Palestine. And then what was the text of the Balfour Declaration, and what do we mean by Balfour Declaration? As at this time, before 1917, they have been pursuing the Jews everywhere. They pursued them from Hungary, from France, from Switzerland, from everywhere. So they have become like a problematic group to the whole world. Everybody is looking for, how do we handle this set of people who are wandering around? Where do we keep them now? So as at that time, they have what they call the National Zionist Movement, which was led by Chaim Israel Weizmann, who is one of the Jews. He's one of the Zionist leaders among the Jews, even though he was born in Russia, as at the time when they were wandering all over the place. But the Zionist group have formed a kind of national group, and they are trying to find where they could be. So the Balfour Declaration is a document that laid the foundation for the creation of the State of Israel. And it was a form of a letter that was sent to Lord Arthur James Balfour. That was the name of the person who sent it, and it was sent to Walter Rumsfeld, who passed it to the Zionist organization. As at that time, Lord Arthur Balfour was the Prime Minister of Britain, who ruled on behalf of the Queen. So when this letter was sent to Balfour, Balfour endorsed it. And it was that letter that was used to create the state of Israel. The letter was authored originally by Chaim Weizmann. Chaim Weizmann, as I said, is like the leader of the National Zionist movement. And what was the content of the letter? This is the content of the letter. I want to read it exactly the way it is. He said, "Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you on behalf of His Majesty, governments of the British Empire, following the declaration of sympathy with the Jewish Zionist aspiration, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet of England. His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people and will use their best endeavor to facilitate the achievement of this objective. It is to be clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of the existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the right and political status enjoyed by the Jews in any other country." Unquote. I should be grateful if you will bring this declaration to the knowledge of the Zionist Federation. Yours sincerely, Actor James Balfour. That was the Balfour Declaration, which was signed to on 2nd of November 1917. And with this letter, the Britain began to move Jews from all over the world, moving them to Palestine. And that was how the Jewish entity and Jewish population in Palestine began to increase. If you take note of one of the clause in that letter, let me read that part again. It says, "It should be clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish community in Palestine." Non-Jewish communities, which means the Christian will be allowed to be there, and also the Muslims who are the Palestinians who are there, they will also be allowed to practice their religion, to also have their civil rights. We all know what we mean by civil rights. That means they will coexist together. So as a result of this, it's not that the Muslims are not in majority in Palestine, but as usual, Muslims welcoming the visitors and whoever that is coming in and be nice to them. The Muslims open their hands to the Jewish people, and before you know it, the population of Jews in Palestine, at the beginning, it is on record that it's just around 600, 700, and within few months, it increased to hundreds of thousands. And then the British started gathering Jews all over the world and moving them to Palestine. And that was how the Jews were collected, if I can use that word, from all over the world, and they were deposited in Palestine. And then in 1948, the British pronounced while they were living, it's just the way they were living in Nigeria, and they say, okay, we hand you the green, white, green flag, we hand over the national anthem to you. And they proclaim the land of where the Philistine, the land of Palestine today, they pronounce it the state of Israel. That was how we have the state of Israel in 1948. Exactly and precisely May 14, 1948, the state of Israel was established on the Muslim Palestinian land, simply because it was under the British rule. Now, if we said, oh, live and let us live, if the British actually want to be so nice to the Jews, why not in Germany? If we have it in the history that it is Adolf Hitler that persecuted them, that killed them, and pursued them from Germany, why can't the British gather them and take them to Germany and say, okay, go back to where you have been persecuted? But rather, the British gathered them and brought them to the land of the Muslim in Palestine and hand over governance to them that, okay, from today, you begin to rule over this place. So I want to believe with this background, we now understand who are the Jews, what has been their situation and their circumstances, what is the background information about the states or the land of the Palestine, And how does the land of the Palestine become state of Israel in 1948? So this is the background that we need to understand as Muslims. Now, taking off from that previous information, let's come to the current situation. The current situation is that as at 1948, unfortunately, we cannot project the map. You have something like an hexagon like this, and you have Jews, because of the place they just live there, like less than 1/4 of what the Palestinian land is. But right immediately after 1948, the Jews, they begin to expand the land. They begin to encroach into the land, even where the Muslims are, because they are the one in power. And you know what power means? They just keep gaining territory after territory, gaining territory after territory. And that is what happens till today, where you only have the West Bank and Gaza. So all other places, Jerusalem, everywhere, the Jews call it their own places. And no any other person could step there, particularly the Muslims. They cannot step there. So it's only the West Bank and Gaza that they allow the Palestinians to live. And they put very fortified barricade so that the Palestinians cannot enter Israel. And as we all know that before you go into any other country today, you must have a visa. If at all any Palestinian was able to get visa to enter Israel, do you know how they live their life? This is verifiable information that you can get online now. For any Palestinian that live within Israel who has a visa, if this Admiralty Road is a road in Israel, they may say it's only Israelite that can pass through this road. No Palestinian should pass through it. And if any Palestinian will pass through, he should get a special waiver to pass through that road. What about primary healthcare centers and hospitals? No hospital should attend to any Palestinian, except you get a special waiver from the Israel authority. There are some areas that if you are a Palestinian, it is not a matter of whether you are a Christian Palestinian or a Muslim Palestinian. Yes, we know that Muslims are the majority in Palestine, but if you are a Palestinian, you are not even a third citizen in Israel. It's completely, and that is why even in United Nations and international circle, the whole of Gaza is just about a little bit over 300 square kilometers, and you have not less than 2.7 Palestinians living there, and they cannot cross. They cannot enter. You can imagine 397 square kilometers, having over 2 million people there. And if you come close to the wall, the border of Israel, they will shoot. Whether you are a woman or you are children or whatever, even if your children just mistakenly play towards the boundary, it's over. So that is the situation where of the current relationship between Palestine and Israel. So we have the Hamas who are in the Gaza Strip, and the Hamas have been the one who have been championing the liberation of the people of Gaza. Let us know the geographical location of Gaza. You have the territory of Israel to the left. You have the Mediterranean Sea, which Israel did not allow the people of Gaza to go to, even for fishing, to get fish. No, they cannot get there. Then you have the Jordan and Egypt at this other side. And the Jordan and Egypt, they are in agreement with Israel not to allow the people of the Palestinian, particularly the Gaza, to cross into their place. Otherwise, they are going to see the red eye of the Israel. So that is why in the international circle, they call it open air prison. You can imagine over 300 square kilometers, more than 2.5 million, around 2.7 million people living in that place, and they cannot cross beyond that 300 square kilometers. They cannot enter into Jordan, they cannot enter into Egypt, they cannot enter into Israel, and they don't allow them access to the Mediterranean Sea. So as a result of this, the Palestinians in Gaza, they are living. In fact, the situation of a prisoner is even far better than them. That was their situation. And as brothers, you must have known, we have seen in 2008, 2012, 2014 of skirmishes, attack between Hamas in Gaza, the Palestine, and the state of Israel. Because it is bound to happen when you push people to the wall. With the description, the geographical description of the Gaza, do you think they will just sit down and just be looking that, okay, let death come and kill us? And they are going to react. So as a result of this, there are so many instances, there are some situations in the past where a pregnant woman will want to give birth and there is no hospital in Gaza. They just have to get to Israel and they will get to the border and Israel will say, no, you have not gotten any waiver, you cannot cross. In some situation, the woman will die alongside with the baby. And if they try to cross by force, they fire them and they kill everybody. So that's the situation of the Palestinians in Gaza. So, and this is what has continued to happen. Now coming to today's issue, exactly on October 7, there was the flood operation of the Masjid al-Aqsa, which the Hamas carried out. There has been so many circumstances that people have said led to it. One of it is that some part of the narrative said a very old man has been sick and is at the point of death, and the family want to take him to cross the border to take to Israel because no hospital, nothing there, no food. In fact, there are some narration that one of the United Nations agency that usually provide borehole, they dug 2 borehole for the Gaza for the Gazans, and the location where they get the water was very close to the border with Israel. So they dug the 2 industrial boreholes so that Gaza can have access to water. And immediately after the completion of the borehole, Israel moved their border. They extend it across near the borehole so that the borehole now is on the side of Israel. So for Israel, no water, no food, no drug, nothing, unless the Gazans cross to Israel. And to cross to Israel is like you want to go to Kiyama. So in such a situation, there is no how. At every point in time, there is always crisis at the border between the Gaza and Israel. So some part of the narration says they are taking this old man, they want to take the old man across. They explain, they beg the soldiers at the border, no way. And then at the end of the day, the old man died. So some of the group, the battalion of the Gaza, they were so infuriated and they overpowered the soldier at the border. They attacked them, they killed them, they entered into the district office of Israel that is close to the Gaza, and they took over the place. They killed one of the general, the soldier that's there, that's always gave the instruction to kill anybody that was. They abduct close to 200 soldiers of Israel. That is what happened on 7th of October. And then immediately after that, Israel declared that this is attack on the state of Israel. IDF, Israel Defense Forces, say because of this, they are going to wipe out the whole of Gaza. And then day and night, it was a aerial drop of bombs in Gaza. At a point in time, they even asked the Gazans, because Gaza has the Gaza North and the Gaza South. They said, okay, everybody, if you are civilian and you are not part of Hamas and you are in Gaza North, let me tell you that all this restriction is not to Hamas, it's to anybody living in Gaza. So now they say people should move from Gaza North and move to Gaza South. And why people are moving? Look, no transportation. You can see even people moving, carrying their children on leg, moving along. And it was one road that linked the Gaza North to the Gaza South. As people are moving from Gaza North to Gaza South, they are dropping bombs on them. In short, as at yesterday, even with the typical Western media, put it that about 7,700 Gazans has been killed through bombs from Israel. We also heard just like about a week ago, a pediatric hospital. You all know what a pediatric hospital, women and small children, that's the hospital for them. That was in Gaza. It was being handled by World Health Organization and some other United Nations. The bomb was dropped on that hospital, and not less than 700 to 1,000 children died immediately in that pediatric hospital. And what has been the reaction? Even Joe Biden, the president of America, visited and said, oh, I can say it authoritatively that that bomb was a straight bomb from the other side. Who is the other side? He said that it is the Gaza who dropped the bomb on themselves so as to gain attention of the world. So this is the situation in Gaza. Just to put some quick thing, how does Israel live with Palestine? The citizens of Gaza, the people of Gaza are living in extreme poverty. No infrastructure, nothing. Over 2 million people in 365 square kilometer piece of land. And once you are above the age of 14, 15, 16, it means the end is near because of the attack from the Israel side. Because they keep taking settlement after settlement. So the children are even the majority in Gaza. Israel will not allow humanitarian access to Gaza except they approve it. So whether it's World Health Organization, whether it's UNICEF who want to take drug there, Israel will not allow anybody to access Gaza until they give them approval to enter there. And as you must have heard, just like 3 to 5 days ago, the Secretary General of United Nations, Antonio Guterres, he made a statement. And what did he say? Despite their biased view, he said October 7 did not happen in isolation. That there has been a lot of instances that contributed to what happened on October 7. And then Benjamin Netanyahu, the president of Israel, was so angry that he said because of this statement of Antonio Guterres, like about 2 days, they just allow about 20 trucks to enter Gaza and give food to the people. And they stopped it. And they said no United Nations officials will even be allowed to enter Gaza again. And as at yesterday or day before yesterday, all communication to Gaza has been cut off. And they launched ground offensive, killing people. So this is the situation in Gaza as at today. What have been the reaction from different pieces and international relations? We all know the position of the United States of America. They said, the President Joe Biden says, we are in support of Israel to defend themselves against terrorism. That's what happened on October 7 was an act of terrorism from Gaza. So it's like, forget about everything that happened before October 7, but let us look at it from October 7. Why did you cross the border? So we are with Israel and we are ready to support you with everything to defend yourself. What does that mean? The British, Rishi Sunak, have also expressed support for Israel. That you are bound to defend yourself, do everything. The only thing is don't kill civilians. When you are doing an area attack, does the bomb differentiate? It's like they throw anything here now and Yoruba by a tribe. Will the bomb or gun, will it differentiate between a Yoruba man and a Hausa man or a Fulani man? No, it kills everybody. And they are dropping bombs every day, day and night. And you say, oh, don't kill civilians, but kill every other person. So that has been the situation from the international level. And we shared about 2 days ago when even one of the non-Muslim journalists of Al Jazeera resigned because of the bias of the West. So the position of the West is we sympathize with the civilian of Gaza, but we support you, Israel, to do whatever you like in Gaza. If you see what is happening between Hamas in Gaza and Palestine, you can really differentiate it from what is happening between Ukraine and Russia. But everybody rally around Ukraine and say it's because Russia is too big, Russia has superpower, Russia has this, Russia has that. Even the Muslim countries, the Muslim nations like Turkey, they are providing ammunition to Ukraine to defend themselves. Nobody offered anything to the people of Gaza, even including the Muslim countries. Turkey, Egypt, Jordan, Iran, Iraq. Keep mentioning it. Nobody has said this is our support to Gaza, except to come up under the G20 that we want truce, we want ceasefire that has no backup. And even as they are having the meeting and they are organizing the talk show, Israel was dropping bomb upon bomb on the Gazans and nothing happened. Turkey released one of the hair carrier that can carry what will be used to project this. He released it to Ukraine to defend themselves so that there could be some alarm forces. If any bomb is coming and people can run around, at least avoid it. Turkey did not give anything to the Gazans. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia did not offer any assistance to the Gazans. Egypt, one of the powerful military in terms of the number of people in the army, did not give any support to Gaza. Pakistan, one of the nations, one of the country militarily that is even acknowledged to have power for nuclear weapon, did not give a simple support to Gaza, other than to say, hey, there should be ceasefire. We support the civilians in Gaza. That is the situation. In terms of the fatalities, unfortunately, it is the women and children that suffered most in Gaza, and these are the Muslim population. My dear brothers, it seems I'm just being emotional about Palestine, about Gaza and the whole thing. What is the position of Palestine with respect to Muslims and Islam? Because we are discussing this simply because we are Muslims. How does it concern us? The scholars have emphasized that anything that affects Palestine, it touches the heart of the Muslim. And for every Muslim, we should be concerned about. La yuminu ahadukum hatta yuhibba li akhihi ma yuhibbu li nafsihi. For 7 reasons, Palestine could not exist in isolation. It should be the concern of all of us as Muslims. 1, Palestine of today is the home of so many prophets of Allah, right from Prophet Ibrahim and all of them. And these are all the prophets that were mentioned in the Quran. And as we know, as a Muslim, for anything that is mentioned in the Quran, it must touch the emotion and the personality of every Muslim. But today, that land where so many prophets were raised, where Allah raised so many prophets, is being occupied by this Zionist movement, who they keep desecrating the place. So that should be a concern for us as Muslims. And Allah also mentioned Palestine in several verses of the Quran as holy land. We have all been seeing both the fake one and the real one, even the Masjid al-Aqsa, what it has turned to. So the Israel has turned this place that Allah has named, and Allah has referred to it as a blessed land in Surah Al-Ma'idah verse 21. Allah says, "O my people, enter the holy land which Allah has assigned to you, and do not turn back from fighting in Allah's cause, for then you will be returned as losers." So as Muslims, if we say nothing concerns us about Palestine, we will be the loser. That is what the Quran says, because it is the blessed land, and that is the statement of Allah. Allah also refers to Palestine as a blessed land on so many occasions. We have even Saad in his tafsir, where he stated that for the presence of Baitul Maqdis, and a lot of blessed land of the Palestine with trees, rivers, and fertile soils, the Muslims should always be concerned about what is happening in Palestine. Number 4, the Palestine of today, where Israel has taken to be their own territory, is where the 3rd holy site of the Muslim is located. And we are even encouraged to visit the place, because aside Mecca and Medina, the next place is the Masjid al-Aqsa. But today, nobody could access Masjid al-Aqsa except the Zionist movement, the state of Israel. They give you permission, which they will not give. We have seen during so many Ramadan. It's like every Ramadan is at those times when the idea, the Israeli Defense Forces are always eager. Let Ramadan come so that we can kill people inside Masjid al-Aqsa. For every Ramadan, they must just attack the place and kill the Muslims. Number 5, this is the site where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ascended upward to receive the prayer. We just finished Salatul Zuhr now. That is the location where Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ascended from, which tells you about the importance, the connection between the Muslims and the land of Palestine. And also it is the land in which the Talut and Dawood, they defeated the Jalut and his army. And there is also a revelation and a forecast that it is the same place where the Jab will be conquered. So which means it's either we strive to be the one that will bring the place back under the control of the Muslims, and if we do not do it, Allah will use another set of people to bring it, because it is the confirmation from Allah. Allah has destined it. So it's either we are ready to be the one that will achieve that, or we say, hey, Allah, just like the people of the elephant. When they say, oh Allah, this is your house. We cannot protect your house. If you like, protect the house. If you like, allow it. Let it get destroyed. Is that a position where we want to be? And then in Palestine, it is called the Al-Asham. And this is a place where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in one of the hadiths where he said, Tuba for Al-Asham, Tuba for Al-Asham. And the companion asked him, and what for, O Messenger of Allah? Why are you saying Tuba for Al-Asham? And the Prophet says, the angels have spread their wings over Al-Asham. And definitely Islam will rule over Al-Asham. So for these 7 reasons, we can realize that this land of the Palestine cannot be separated from the Muslims, and we should be concerned about what is happening there. And as the talk of today, the liberation of Palestine means the Khilafah. So if we are so disturbed about what is happening in Palestine, what are the solutions? So many solutions have been proffered, a lot have been discussed. But let us look at this from Sharia point of view. What is the solution for the liberation of the Palestine? Whether it is, because now you want to say, okay, it is the Hamas that attacked on October 7, right? Which is in the part of Gaza. Now Israel is attacking both Gaza and West Bank because they just want to take over the whole place. And these are the people who got the revelation, but they decided not to follow the revelation. They know the importance of this location. So the interest of Israel is to take over the whole place of the land of Palestine, including Gaza and the West Bank. They don't want to leave any place. Some years back, they even relocate during the era of Donald Trump. They relocate the capital of Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. So the interest of Israel is to take over the whole place, nothing else. So what are the solutions? The first solution that is being bandied around, and so many people were in support of, is two-state solution. They said, okay, if the two cannot live together, the land of Palestine, let's divide it into two. We have Israel on one side, then we have Palestine as another side. But the current map, the way it is. We have the West Bank here, you have Gaza here. Then from up here, down to the middle, down to the south, is Israel. My dear brothers, how do you want to have two states? You have Gaza here, you have West Bank here. And then from up here, down to the middle, down to the south, is Israel. How do you want to have two states? And that is why when you are reading the news of today or in the United Nations document, they will say occupied territory of Palestine, OTP. Because the position of United Nations is, okay, let us create a state for the Palestinians. And that is why you have PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, who are saying, okay, give us our own state, give us our own state. But what I can say is very close to two-state solution. It's just the way IPOB is saying, give us Biafra in Nigeria. Definitely it is Nigeria who will say, okay, we give you state of Biafra, right? So to have the state of Palestine, it is Israel who will say, okay, now state of Palestine, we allow you to be. Will that ever happen? Looking at it from 1948 till date. And also, it's unbelievable. Let me also give a scenario. The Boko Haram in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa, right? The military has really cleared a lot of them. Some of the Boko Haram militants, they surrender, and they now say, okay, don't let us kill them. Let us train them on some artisanal job and the whole thing. And then some of the territory in Borno, like the Central Borno and Northern Borno, they say, hey, we know this guy, we know these guys. He was the one who killed my father. This is the guy that killed this thing. Don't return him to our community. So the Nigeria government was like, okay, where can we take these people to so that we can train them? They said, okay, the military said, let us take them to Adama. Adama said, no, we don't want them. Let us take them to Bauchi. Bauchi said, no, we don't want them. So at the end of the day, they take some location in Gumbi where they were trained, the repentant Boko Haram. I don't know whether we have seen it in the news. Where they train them on mechanic, on some things, vulcanizing, and the whole thing. and they say they will be integrated back into the community. Now imagine, let's say they want to integrate them back into the community, and they integrated them into Gombe. They now pursue the people of Gombe that we are the owners of the land. And now somebody now say, you see what, Gombe, let us also give them some land. I know it is those guys who are now saying, Gombe, we will give you some portion of land. Because remember the way we say they gather the Jewish all over and bring them to the Palestinian land. Now it is the Jewish, Israel, who will now say, okay, Palestine, we want to give you this small piece of land. You can see that the two-state solution cannot work. Definitely, no doubt about it. So that is not a solution. Another solution that some people have put up is one-state solution. You Palestinian, you don't fight somebody that is bigger than you. Just accept your fate and join Israel. Accept the fact that you are part of Israel. And let the Israeli be ruling over you. You vote and they give you everything. But you remember again, I mentioned it. And so many brothers from Palestine have released it. The video explaining their situation and the whole thing. Even if you're a Palestinian, that you live inside Israel, you are not a second-class citizen. Possibly you are a third-class citizen. Because the road that the Israelites pass through, you cannot pass through the place. The hospital that they use, you cannot use it. Everything is. So even if they join the state of Israel, this NYSC for them, now your suffering continues. Because they are not of the same identity as the Jews. And when you say the state of Israel, forget about some misunderstanding of some pastors in Nigeria who are praying for them. Let us raise jihad. Let us go to Palestine. Will that work? An unorganized soldier want to fight organized soldier. That will never work. So it's not a matter of emotion. The brothers, we have an airplane, it cannot work. That's the third solution. What is the fourth solution? Let us call on all the Arab nations, Turkey, Jordan, Egypt. Let them support Palestinians. I'm just giving you the scenario of what is happening. Even at the Rama border, that is for the Gaza to Egypt, immediately after October 7, the Egyptian government fortified the border so that no Gaza can cross into Egypt. So are these the same people that is going to support them? And the G20 of the Muslims, they have a summit in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And while they were having the summit, Israel was dropping bombs on Gaza, supporting with anything. And do you know, as at the time when all of these have been going on, different Muslim countries, because these are agent rulers, they were having a bilateral agreement with Israel, 78, that Egypt signed with Israel, and up till date, Egypt still honor that agreement. And part of that agreement is that Egypt should not allow even Mexico to cross to Palestine, to Gaza, except Israel approve it. And then they have some economic terms that they agree together. Okay, we will give you some oil, we will help you to get this, to get that. And because of that, Egypt and Israel, they are on the same page. For economic reason, Egypt will not do anything that will go against the will of Israel. We have the UAE, United Arab Emirates, who even signed agreements with the state of Israel, so that under the Abrahamic agreement, that okay, the Jews and the Christians and the Muslims are from Prophet Ibrahim, so let us come together for economic gain. So Israel is now the one who helped UAE to market their gas reserves, their oil and everything to Europe and to America. And because of that, UAE and other Muslim countries, they will say, for economic reasons, we cannot fight Israel. You abandon your brother, you abandon the holy sites in Palestine for economic reason. And this economic reason is just for the people in power. It's just because of the people in power. Then we have the Oslo Peace Accord. The Oslo Peace Accord is that, hey, come, with all those Muslim nations that surround Israel. So this is peace accord. You allow us to deal with Palestine the way we like, and none of you should do anything. That is the peace accord. After the 6 day battle between Egypt and Israel, that was more or less like a talk show. And brothers, if you take the population of the army of the Muslim land that surround Israel, if they just contribute even 5% of their army to go and liberate Palestine, Palestine will be liberated. But for other reasons, because criterion of actions has been classified into three. It's either for economic reason. All of us, we go around, we go out to work, we do everything. What do we want? We want economic. We want to empower ourselves economically. The same thing applies to a state or a country. Criterion of action are three. Is it for economic reason? Is it for humanitarian reason, humanitarian value? You can give somebody, maybe you see somebody who is going around, even though you have 10 naira, you just say, okay, let me give this guy 5 naira for humanitarian reason. Yes, Muslims may be doing it in majority, but non-Muslims also give humanitarian. Why is it that USAID is the biggest humanitarian agency all over the world? Are they going to get any reward for it? Because they are non-Muslims, no reward for it. Whatever reward that they are going to get is going to be on this earth. That's all. So it's either for economic reason, for humanitarian reason, or for religious, spiritual reason. And of all these three criterion of action, the one that is of utmost importance is for religious reason, spiritually. Why will a Muslim in Sharia, you should not kill yourself, right? But if there is jihad on behalf of the state, it is better for you to die in jihad than to die at home. Do you see now? Spiritual reason. Because spiritually, Allah has given credence to somebody who died as a shaheed. So now, all the countries that surround Palestine, the Muslim countries, who should have support Palestinian, they have prioritized economic interest above the spiritual value. And even their humanitarian value to support Palestine, Israel must give them permission before they are going to do that. So if you now look at all of this, these four previous solutions, two-state solution, it cannot work. One-state solution, the suffering of Palestinians continues. To call for jihad, an unorganized army cannot defeat organized army. Even during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not fight the Quraysh in Mecca. He was saying sabr. But when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam established the state of Islam in Medina, what happened to the Quraysh? Because now it's a state, it's a government, it's an authority. So Hamas can do whatever they want to do, Hezbollah can do whatever they want to do. Some brothers can be emotionally attached and say, hey, let us go to Palestine, we want to die, let us go and support them. But what is the solution? You remember I said it when I was trying to trace how Israel came into being. For centuries, for more than 100 years, right from 637, 50 years after the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Umar ibn Khattab conquered the land of Palestine, and it has been under the rule of Al-Islam, under the Khilafah, up till 1917. After during the First World War, when the British collapsed, destroyed the Khilafah, and they start taking over the land of the Muslims. So the only thing that can liberate Palestine back, that can bring the people of Palestine back, is when all Muslims unite under one Khilafah, and we have one Khalifa who will rule according to the Sharia of Allah. That's the only solution. And it's not just imaginary, because Allah has said it in Surah An-Nisa, verse 75. Allah says, وَمَا لَكُمْ لَا تُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالْمُسْتَضْعَفِينَ مِنَ الرِّجَالِ وَالنِّسَاءِ, down to the end of the verse. Allah says, and what is the matter with you that you fight not in the cause of Allah and for the oppressed among men, women, and children, who say, our Lord, take us out of this city of oppressive people and appoint for us from yourself a protector. and appoint for us from yourself a helper, that Allah should appoint for them a protector and a helper. Surah An-Nisa verse 75. So for anybody, for all the Muslims, because if you listen to news now, if you are watching Al Jazeera and they say 120 people die in Turkey, 130 people die in Iran, within the next 15 minutes, it will become 150. So the blood of the Muslim is the easiest to just spill everywhere. So Muslims have become oppressed all over the world now. The only thing is, at every point in time, we always shift the discussion. Today, now it is the Palestine. Before you know, it will move to Iraq. Before you know, it will move to Turkey. Before you know, it will move to Syria, where they will be killing the Muslims. So Muslims are the oppressed. And the only thing that will protect the Muslim, that will liberate the Muslim, men, women, and children from this oppressor, is if Allah appoints a protector for us. And what do we mean by this? A protector and a helper. The hadith in Sahih Muslim has described who is this protector and who is this helper. So وَإِنَّ مَا الْإِمَامُ جُنَّةٌ يُقَاتِلُ مِنْ وَرَائِهِ وَيُزَكِّيهِ. He says, surely the Imam, the Khalifa, and the Khalifa has no two meaning. There is no difference of opinion among the scholars that the Khalifa is the Imam, is the only one person that oversee the affairs of the Muslims. And it's not a matter of Muslim of Nigeria, Muslim of Chad, or Muslim. Unify all the Muslims. Yes, there may be so many regions under it, but you have only one Imam. Today, we don't have only one Imam. We have MBS in Saudi, Mohammed bin Salman. Then we have CC in Egypt. They are equal. You can't have that under the Muslims. And when they say G20, they said equals. It's like we want to pray now. Two people now saying we are equal. Two people want to lead us as Imam. It is not possible. So it is only when we have that, when you have the Khalifa, that unify all the Muslims, that can liberate the Muslims from the oppressor. And the Muslims among the oppressor is also the land of the Palestine. So dear brothers, this is just to elicit discussion among ourselves. So we want to pause here, and then maybe during in the course of questions and the whole thing, we can try to get into the details of some other options to clarify some things. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I'm just very, very surprised that the speakers talk in this place, because I thought he would continue to the end of the. I just want the discussion to continue. And inshallah, like he has said, we've all heard what is happening to our Muslim brothers, how the brothers in the Palestinian, and what they are actually facing, and what is the major solution that is preferred, that we, the Muslims, need to do. It started on how who are the people, or who are the Jews, who are the Israelites, what is their origin, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually commanded Prophet Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, after he has liberated them from the Pharaoh, and they refused, and they are always killing the prophets of Allah. So meaning that the curse of Almighty Allah is upon them. And he moved directly to what has actually happened before 1948, 1947, how there was an agreement and they brought the Jew to the Palestinian land. And what is going on now is the fact that the Jews have taken over the Muslim land. And the solution profiled by so many bodies, international bodies, which cannot even solve the problem at all, except we move back to what? To the system of Almighty Allah, the system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, which is the Khilafah. People see the Khilafah as a kind of a mirage, and which for a true Muslim and understanding Muslim, somebody that has knowledge, understanding of Islam, knows that his Khilafah is not a mirage, and his Khilafah is not too far. If you look at it, they say the state fall in 1924. Many of us do not actually know what is going on, to be sincere. So we thank our speaker, and inshallah we're going to give room for comments and questions inshallah. So if you have a question, comment. Let's start with the comments, right? Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In-depth analysis of what is happening around us as Muslims, particularly in relation to Palestine and Israel. My comment is to call upon ourselves as Muslims to wake up from the slumber because clearly when you listen to what the speaker said, all what he said is not happening by accident. These are plans that have been put in place by the kuffar to humiliate us as Muslims. We have seen in history he narrated how they move Israel into our area in Palestine to create, to destabilize that region, to destabilize our brothers. No? When you look at it locally here in Nigeria, we have seen what happened in Borno, what is happening in Katsina, Zamfara. These are not things that are happening by accident. Is it by coincidence that crises around the world are happening in a Muslim-dominated area? Because if you look at all around the world, where there is crisis, killing, poverty, name it, it's happening in a place that are dominated by Muslims. Is it really coincidence? It's a plan by kuffar to humiliate us because of their hate. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us how much they hate us and how they will, what will remove that hate. When we will leave our path of Islam and join them before that hate will remove. So clearly it continues. We have seen one Christian, a musician, Mubad, was killed. The thing caught the international, not local, it's international. How many people were killed in Zamfara? Muslims. How many people are killed in Katsina and are still being killed? In Borno, Hafiz. Why is the international media, why is the international organization not talking about it? Only one person, a musician, a Christian, killed, and everyone is talking about it. Does our life really matters? So the thing is actually in our court as Muslims to bail ourselves out. And as the speaker rightly said, the ways are clear. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has already defined to us what to do, and he simply put it to us: carrying arms will not solve it. And he has told us the clear way how we can go about it. The fact that we feel okay, we are in Suleja today, in Compassion, we are safe. We are not safe. It's just a matter of time. They'll get to us. So do we need to work to ensure that we stop it, or we will wait until when it gets to us? Because we have seen how they are taking off the Middle East. They have taken off Iraq. They have taken off Syria. They are taking off Palestine, Egypt. You understand? It's just a matter of time. So we need to really understand these plans. These are plans that they organize. Who is UN? From Washington, Biden sent aid, not food, military aid to Israel twice. Well, our brothers, instead of them to send, then they are sending food, though. It's not military aid that they are sending, but they are sending it via UN. Can we understand the hypocrisy of our leaders? Because the fact that we say, okay, this is our leader, is that leader standing for us, to protect us? Because we have seen what is happening locally. Now we are here talking about fuel subsidy, not fuel subsidy. And that all of us disagree for the subsidy to be removed, but it was removed. And we are in the situation we are, poverty and the rest. So these are things that are actually, who is behind removal of fuel subsidy? Check it. Is it Tinubu? Tinubu cannot dare not remove that subsidy. You cannot dare not remove that subsidy. So who is actually managing our situation? It's the West. And the fact that we continue being subjected under them, believe you me, we will continue being in this situation until we follow the solution the speaker told us, until we get the leadership. Our major problem today, we don't have anybody that protects us. We don't have a leadership that protects us. And it's high time we as Muslims begin to think for that, to get a leadership that will actually protect us. Because if we feel okay, we can protect our surroundings, what of the people in Katsina? What of the other people around the world? Sudan is there. No? Nobody is talking about Sudan again. Nobody is talking about Syria again. Is it that the crisis has gone? They are still there, going through a lot of problems. But nobody is even torchlighting their matter again. They are still in serious crisis. So it's actually high time for us to really understand that the only way out, as the speaker rightly put it, is for us to have a leader that will lead us with taqwa, with the fear of Allah, to protect us. Because it's not coming because of his own benefit, the way we see. People are coming into power for what they will get for themselves and their family. Under Islam, it's not like that. So may Allah continue to assist us. So it's high time as Muslims wake up from this slumber. We have overslept. So we need to wake up and understand actually what is happening.
According to what you are saying, my only understanding is, when the Muslims are fighting for leadership, they are not fighting to organize themselves. The problem we have with the Islamic world is our leaders, they are not fighting for our Muslims. They are fighting for the leadership, just leadership. At the issue of Islamic. Leadership won't work. This is Islamic work. Now, if you just look at Nigeria now, Christianity entered Nigeria during colonial masters. When Islamic Caliph is almost 400 years in northern part, or more than 400 years according to what when Christianity comes to Nigeria, not more than 100 years, it's about 400 years. Just as how the world power carry Israel to Palestine land. Around 1947. Yes. So, the question I want to ask Mara is this: before the world power carried Israel to that Palestine, the Palestinians are they ruled by government? No government is ruling them. There's no government that's ruling them by that time. They are just still like that. No any government at all. Government is ruling them. That government is supposed to see what you guys do. And again, it's lack of we Muslims. We are not practicing Islam very well. We just take Salah to make Islam. We didn't take Islam, relationship is Islam. Love one another is not Islam. We didn't take Islam as well, love one another. Some people say they take their tribe, they're only Muslim. Yeah. For example, I'm born in Edo State. I'm from Edo State. I was brought from Edo State to Sokoto State in 1975. And I converted to Islam in 1975 for Islam. But so many, by that time, some people have just a problem with people that time. You say, hey, you're not a good Muslim. Because of maybe you found something from you.
you didn't give him, you're not a good Muslim. What's happened to me like that? Even my happened to me. Maybe some person from you didn't give him. Hey, you're not a Muslim, you're not a Muslim. They take Islam as a tribe. What's what Islam in Nigeria? Take Islam as a tribe. It's not a religion of general religion. It's a religion that's concerned on everybody, whether you are also anything happen to you, happen to your brother. But I can say in 90, when Sunnah come out, Sunnah, when they create Islamic together with Sunnah, it's the only religion that is to preach everywhere, carry Muslim together. But before, a minute you're not, for example, just talk about this my hobby in Bobby. If you, and even that you're in the mosque, they see you speak another language. Hey, what are you? You see, they didn't take it as a Muslim. We don't speak another language. But I was in the mosque in Sokoto State. And last time, somebody came. When they are praying, you know, Sokoto State, they are following Imam Malik in this thing. In particular, somebody enter mosque, will not pray, will not do rakah. The person comes to me, ask me, you see, people are not praying, are following Imam Malik, but if you like, you can pray. Somebody come out, why are you talking in the mosque? Because I speak language that you don't understand the language. From there, I'm not going to consider, you know what is this man? What's point Islam in the world is I'm the only Muslim. For example, if you go to even in Saudi, I've been in Saudi, an Arabic man is not accepted as a good Muslim. In Islam, the many of us are black. But unless only people in Medina, they are the only people that they are welcoming you. But in Makkah, the Makkah man was looking at that guy. It's a black man. I have traveled up in the world. When I converted to Islam in 1975, I think that we travel out of the world. They are showing tribalism and sentiment in Islam. This shows sentiment in Islam is one book Islam today. That's no unity in Islam. Look at Nigeria now. Christianity entered Nigeria in 1990 what? You will see in the north now. Christianity appointed handing to Muslims in the north area. When Islam is almost 500 years in the north area. Why? Because the Muslims are not united. If they are united, Islam is 50 years, almost 500 years in the north. And Usman Dabod is one with jihad. All the states. But the Christianity entered in northern part, not more than 100 years. That's why they planned this church. What happened is Ewa Church. They planned Ewa Church. You know, Gawaz don't bring Ewa Church. They are now hating Islam. But our Muslim brothers are not coming back to organize our Muslim brothers together. So now you didn't bring me together. I will not show that you are my brother. But if you say yes, we are one. I will say we are one. Let's fight together and help ourselves. That's why the only thing that will make us is the only thing that will make solve this problem. We have to unite together. Anywhere you see a Muslim, is your Muslim brother. Whatever was following. The village guys can watch that is one job together with him. I said that is your brother, wherever you come from, whether I'm people, whether you're going traveling, these people cannot understand. But if we are putting those things, we cannot. If you look, even in the Arab country, they are divided. They are divided. They are divided. What of them are divided? What divided them? Leadership. They are divided. It's not they are divided. They are divided. Even Nigeria, the Muslims are divided because of politics. I know the time that during the when SDP and PDP,
SDP and NRC.
NRC, when Abiola won the election,
and Tufa.
See what happened. You see, it's a Muslim brother, but you see what people did not say against him. But I was talking about that time. I was even looking at this. I was Saudi at that time when they cast me addicted. I was in Saudi. I told them, I said, this is what traditional. It's a Muslim brother. Why? But what happened again? That's why we have to put ourselves together. If you want to be in, if you want to win this battle, So if we don't bring ourselves, we don't this battle. They will continue killing us. Look what's happening now. They will kill a Muslim, 5 Muslim, or 10. Anytime they kill only 1 Christian, they will be shouting about. See a woman that it cost Prophet Muhammad in Sokoto, when they kill her, see it even happened in our market. There's an opportunity. Continue fighting our market last time in Khilafah. When this woman is, the woman is from the north, and she's going to school in the northern part in Islamic state. I don't know what to say.
Almighty Allah removes it. So it's a small enlightenment. Inshallah, will come. I think that is a question, very sharp and intelligent question in that place.
Yes.
That the Palestinian, is it that they don't have government before, they don't have leadership there before they bring these refugees who are Jew to that place and now take over the land and now claiming the land, they are not claiming the landlord of that particular land. I think that is a very good question. And the issue of Sabia also comes up from that place. That is it recognized for us to is it acceptable in Islam? Okay. Saying that from this tribe, I'm an Arab. This one is a black man, and this one is a. Is there any question again? Bombas.
I really have little thing to see from part of what I was saying. And considering what is happening, be our unity, the Muslims as well, unity. I think the unity is always verbal, only seen. We have united, we are doing this together, we come to the prayer ground together to pray, especially Juma and some other issues.
And eat.
I think, sometimes we consider it to be unity. But I think the most important part of unity meant by the Sharia is to like and then know what your brothers is in, and then to know how to make him survive in future, both economically and sometimes contrary to the way he is living for having his in terms of health or whatsoever. Baba said something about we the Muslims and then most especially the Hausa land in the north. I think that is previous. Myself got myself in search. But now we are not talking about only the north. It's escalated. Because no any tribe in Nigeria that will like another tribe better than his. In terms of considering even the matter of Islam. We are busy. I would not like to call the name or whatsoever. But sometimes it's something having to make you people together for the cause of what? Calling people into Islam or doing something da'wah or whatsoever. Sometimes you will be seeing that some of them will be stretching themselves off you. That's because you are from another tribe. And you see that this is what we are calling unity. How can we call it unity? But we are not united on that same word of La ilaha illallah. Because the most purpose for that La ilaha illallah is to unite from head to foot. And also your head should be the same. And your mind should be one. Your everything, you are doing it for the satisfaction of Islam. But when we are bisecting or we are making ourselves so what? How do I call it? Separate from each other. That we cannot have that La ilaha illallah to be one. And this is what we are doing. Sometimes in the mosque, sometimes hospital, sometimes in the ministries, also whatsoever. I'm adding to that of the Babasu, inshallah. And this, and the other one, he talked about the Palestinians, whether they were having, I think, government.
Yeah.
I think they
It's a
have
question. It's a question.
Yeah,
It's a question that
the
speaker will give the answer.
Okay, all right.
Inshallah.
Okay.
You understand? Yeah.
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi. Jazakallah.
Is there any question again or comments?
Maybe
So,
we take this
Yeah.
one.
Okay,
Okay.
this one be the last first.
Yes.
may Allah assist us. And
Amen.
for our lecturer, may Allah bless you.
Amen.
Because, this thing is a very big issue. As far as I am Muslim, wallahi, unless you don't really get to know what is happening, it will pain you. Even non-Muslims, wallahi, this one is paining them. Across the globe, the Jews in London are protesting against BBC as we speak now. Just to describe Hamas as a terrorist organization. BBC said with what they are seeing, they will never describe Hamas as a terrorist organization. BBC, owned by British Broadcasting Corporation, it was like even non-Muslims. They are seeing this. Well, if you see their journalists, if you see as they are taking this news, even CNN, you see that they are not happy. It's clearly showing them. Look, they are talking of power. May Allah help us. Assuming we're going to have Al Jazeera, it's not as if Al Jazeera is still controlled by them to a very large extent. But to a very large extent too, they still they know where they are coming from. Look at how Israel is dealing with Al Jazeera. Even their headquarters in Gaza, West Bank have been destroyed. Just 3 days ago, one of their reporters, very influential reporter, is the one sending news to just Al Jazeera English, Al Jazeera Arabic. As I speak to you, unless that man is an extraordinary person, they have killed his spirit. His wife, 2 children, grandchildren, they kill everybody. That just did for us. Look, as at last night, about 3 days ago, children in Palestine, children of 4, 5, 6 years, were using marker to write their full names on their body parts, different types, different places. So that if bomb destroy them, they will use at least one to describe to identify them. Children of 4, 5 years. Then the parents, you know what they are doing? The parents are doing swapping. If you have 7 children, I'll say, you man, take one. The mom take one. Take them to your room. Then they too will bring their own. Only one will be with you, your own, will be sharing them.
For in case.
So that anybody they bombard among us, at least the whole family of that person will not be. You see the one of Friday night, wallahi, it will be difficult for you to go and sleep. They seize the light, they seize the electricity, they seize everything. They were just bombarded. People were not even seeing what is happening. People just came out and they were shouting. It was the total darkness. Nothing. You cannot even communicate. Wallahi, Prophet said that if whatever affects the Muslim world does not affect you as a Muslim, then you are not a good Muslim. You don't have Iman. You are not perfect. That is it. But like when you see this thing, we are seeing it, you don't need to be a Muslim to be hot. Wallahi, that is just the truth. It is a very look. The Nigerian Christians, they don't have knowledge. Look, in the whole over the world, the people supporting Palestine, more than half are not Muslims. You see it in Milan, Australia, Germany, on the street, California, Texas. Go and watch CNN, you see people in thousands shouting for Palestine. They are not Muslims. A simple attack about 3 days ago, 20 Palestinian Christians died. Just a simple attack. But Nigerian Christians are here because there is Israelite in the Bible. They thought the Israelite in the Bible is the Israelite of today. It's like maybe in Sulejana, we just cut one area and call it Israelite. Christians will say this is their area. They don't have knowledge. If not, they don't know what they're saying. But it is easier to practice Christianity in Palestine than practicing Christianity in Israel.
Yes.
Far easier. But the truth is that they don't have knowledge. It's a very painful situation. But if you don't hold yourself, if you want to go and sleep, don't watch that thing.
Exactly.
Just leave there. If not, you will be on the bed for hours. But sleep will not come. Because you are seeing children following their daddies and mommy's course. You see a boy of 2, 3 years stranded Everybody in his family is gone. They'll just go and carry the boy. He's the only person left. Imagine children using marker. You write your name here, you write here, you write here. Children, oh, so that in case they bombard them, they can easily, at least they should see one of the parts that will let them know that this is me, Muhammad Zakari. That's what they are writing, children. If you have blood in you, will you be happy? May Allah help us. The last one, a family of 42. 42 persons, entire family. Nobody came up. 4 wives and children. 42. Oh, may Allah help us. It's a very pathetic thing. But you know why we are happy about this one? It has overexposed this one. Even they, wallahi, US, Britain, they are ashamed of themselves as you speak now. It's not that a hypocrite will never confess openly. This one has overexposed them. For them to come out to go and say we are human rights or freedom activists, but wallahi, it will not be easy for them like before. But they will say it will, but it is not going to be easy for them like before.
Sometimes they are not sure.
It has overexposed them. They are saying, they are unite the Muslims. It is painful for seeing somebody dying just because he or she is a Muslim.
That's all.
It's so painful.
Madam Muhammad Zaki, I think we will allow the speaker to give us solution and answers to our question. Inshallah, even me too, I have a question that will recap. But let him take this give answers to this question.
Okay, inshallah. Well, brothers, Jazakumullah khairan. I think for all the speakers, they have really contributes effectively. Because if we are going to go into the details of what is happening in Palestine, one will get very emotional. It will be like, but why are you saying this? So, Madam Zakari, Allah reward you. Wallahi, that is just the situation. We cannot just describe vividly or graphically what is happening in Gaza. And one of the reasons why people are writing their name is, as we said, Muslims, not that you have to be nice to the Muslim, you also have to be nice to your neighbor who is a non-Muslim. Even the Christians who are in Gaza, the Muslims are nice to them. So we have Christians in Gaza. And the reason why people are writing their name on their part is, if at all bomb destroy every part, there will be something that they can do to identify them as a Muslim, and they can offer salah on their body. I saw one of the videos that one lady was saying, oh, please also pray for my mom. This corpse is my mom. See the leg. See the name here. So it should be one of before you bury them. So that is just the situation. Voila. So the question is, what is the situation in Palestine before 1948? The first set of rulers in Palestine were the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire ruled Palestine for about 5 decades, for 50 years. Then the Persian Empire, who are in current day Iran, the clan by clan fighting that time, because it's the powerful clan that will be ruling. So it was the Roman Empire, then it gets to the Persian Empire, that is current day Iran. Iran and Iraq, they were the Persian Empire. They conquered the Roman Empire, and then they were ruling in Palestine. Then the Byzantine Empire, who are like the second part to the Roman Empire, also came and we were ruling. You remember in one of their days, when Rasulullah in one of the battlefield, when they were breaking the rocks on the trench, the battle of the trench, and they hit one of the rocks, and the Sahaba were breaking it, and they were tired, they were rotating it one after the other. Then Rasulullah came and tied his papa and carried the axe, and when he hit it, the stone break. He said that's how the Muslims will conquer the Roman Empire. And then he struck for the second time. He said that's how we will conquer the Byzantine Empire. So it was a message to the Sahaba. And the Sahaba has made up their mind that if Rasulullah could say it, then it's a revelation, it will come to pass. And each of the Khilafah Rashidun, they were determining that I'm going to be the one that will make the statement of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to come to pass. So when Byzantine Empire were ruling in Palestine, that was around the time when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. And 5 years after the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was Umar ibn Khattab that was the Khalifa then. And it was Umar ibn Khattab that conquered Palestine. And since that time, Palestine has been under the Islamic rule. So after Umar, we have Uthman, we have Ali, from one Khalifa to another Khalifa, up to the time of the Ottoman Empire, during the Sultan Abdul Majid II, who was the last Khalifa. In fact, at a point in time, the Palestine side was being ruled from Egypt, Wilaya of Egypt. And that's why they call it the Fatimid. The Fatimid among the Khilafah that time. So, and at a point in time, even when some of the Byzantine Romans, they reconquered the Palestine from the Muslim, we all know the story of Salahuddin al-Ayyubi. Salahuddin al-Ayyubi mobilized the army of the Muslim from Egypt to reconquer Palestine again and bring it back under the rule of Islam. So since 637, the Muslims have been ruling in Palestine, from one Khalifa to another Khalifa to another Khalifa to another Khalifa. Then when the First World War happened, as the story goes, the First World War was between Germany and the Allied forces, that is the West, the Britain and the France. And the Khilafah, because the Khilafah, all these things you explain, all the Asabiya, ethnic superiority and all these things are set in among the Muslims. So the Khilafah was not so strong. As at that time, the Khilafah, instead of maintaining their distinct, we are going to organize a talk how the Khilafah was destroyed so that it will shed more light on this. So the Khilafah has started having problems internally. And then the Khilafah under Sultan Abdul Majid supported the German against the Allied forces. So the Muslims were fighting on the side of the German during the First World War. And that's why you see some Turkish, because the headquarters of the Khilafah was in Istanbul, in Turkey, as at that time. That's why you see some Turkish who are also claiming Germans. For those who follow football, this guy that plays for Arsenal, sometimes Ozil, he said he will not play for Germany again because of tribalism, racism, because he was originally from Turkey. So there's that relationship between Turkey and Germany that time, because the Khilafah supports Germany during the First World War. And when the Allied forces defeated the German in the First World War, they divided Germany into Western Germany and Eastern Germany. But for the Muslim land, the Khilafah, they cut us into different countries. That was Sykes-Picot Agreement. So when they divide the Muslim land, they will say Britain take Ghana, Britain take Nigeria. In Syria, Iran, Iraq, that was because as at that time they are all states under the Khilafah, wilaya. We have just only one Muslim leader. So the Allied forces, that is the Britain and the France, they were just distributing the Muslim land among themselves, and that was how Palestine was given to Britain. So when Palestine was given to Britain, Britain was ruling in Palestine, the way Britain was ruling Nigeria, you understand? And instead of giving independence to the Palestine, they gathered Jews all over the world and bring them to Palestine and then create the state of Israel and give it to the Jews. So Palestine, for quite some time, it was ruled by different empires like Roman Empire, Persian Empire, Byzantine Empire, but right from the time of Umar ibn Khattab, the Muslim has been ruling in Palestine up to the end of the First World War. I hope it is clear, inshallah. So the second issue is the unity among the Muslims and Asabiya. Wallahi, everything we have said is in order. And not even by tribe, it's even by sect. Now we say this is a Shiite, this is a Sunni, I'm Ahlus Sunnah, this one is this. So many things have been introduced among the Muslims that the unity has really eluded us completely. And that is why The dawah we are talking about is the dawah of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because that is the fundamentals of Islam. We know the time when Imam Malik, Imam Hanbali, and when people were fighting because of all of this, when this Imam did not actually fight for themselves. But now, it's not like the story of Nigeria, Baba, the way you have mentioned. If not that you are a living entity to it, the story that will be reasoned by something Clifford is what a Nigerian will read, and we say I'm an authority in the story of Nigeria, the history of Nigeria. Story of Nigeria, history of Nigeria written by a Briton. So we are at that place now where we Muslims, we are even quoting the Kufa on the Sharia of the Muslims, because we don't even understand Islam again. If Imam Hanbali, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, if they did not fight themselves on the dalil, evidence that allow for difference of opinion, they have difference of opinion, and yet they did not fight themselves. But we Muslims of today, we are the one who will say, see what Imam Hanbali says. So because you hold the opinion of Imam Maliki, you are a kafir. You can see the division among the Muslims. That's why we really need to go back to the basis and understand what Islam is. Wallahi, as one of Malam says here, we have just everything about Islam, we have reduced it to the 5 daily salawat. That's the only thing that unites us. And meanwhile, it's La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that's supposed to unify us. Because up to the time of Sultan Abdul Majid, the Muslims united under one leadership. It's a long discussion around how the Khilafah was destroyed. Because the Turks, the modern day Turkey, they have a group that they call the Young Turks, which was led by Mustafa Kemal. Mustafa Kemal is the originator of modern day Turkey. And the Young Turks says, we are tired of all this issue of the Muslims, the people from Mecca, from Medina, from all over the world. We are not interested in your affair again. We want to focus about the issue of Turkey. It's your problem that is bringing us down. And then they are the one who started destroying the Khilafah from within. And then we have the Lawrence of Arabia and Ibn Saud family that we call Kingdom of Saudi Arabia today. That when the British forces were really pulling the Mujahideen, the Muslims backward, the Khalifa seek for reinforcement, that the soldiers from the Mecca and Medina, Transjordan and Egypt, they should come, reinforcement to support the Muslims. But Britain told them that if the Khalifa seek for reinforcement, don't join him. We will bring the Khilafah to Saudi for you. This is where Muhammad reigned. And then they abandoned the Khilafah. They allowed them to conquer Khilafah. So when they conquer Khilafah, they now say, okay, we want to establish Khilafah in Mecca. Britain say, are you crazy? Which kind of Khilafah? Come under British rule. It's a discussion for another day. But wallahi, Baba and my brothers, disunity among the Muslims is our problem from day one, and it's still our problem today. That is why we must study our seerah by ourselves, not what the Kafirun said about us. And for most of the scholars of today, the most sincere among them, they also read this seerah and the interpretation of the Sharia according to the Kuffar, who just wrote it in Arabic and take it to Saudi. They just mention it. You get to Mecca, you see the way people, Muslims relate with fellow Muslims. Is that what Islam says? So wallahi, unless we gather that back, we study Islam, we understand Islam the way it is, and we know that Islam is just not about prayer. Islam is not a religion. Islam is a way of life that teaches us everything, the way we sleep, the way we relate with our wife, the social system, the economic system, the political system, the leadership system. Now today in all Muslim world, like you have said, I've been to Jibia, I've been to Bunza, all the border of Nigeria. I've traveled to, okay, let me be conservative, 60% of the border with Nigeria in the north. You cannot say, okay, oh, now I identify this is the person from the Niger, or this is the person from Chad. Because they will cross over, we pray Zur together, we pray Asri together. They don't even see the border. Because these are people who have things in common, religion in common, cultural in common, and everything. The only thing that discriminates them is you are in Chadian, you are in Nigeria. Who put the border there, Baba? It's the colonial master who just divide us. And then a Muslim will not be concerned about what is happening in Niger. We say that is Niger, C division. Then in Nigeria, Hausa Muslim to Yoruba Muslim. Then among the Yorubas, we say this one is a Torika, and this one is this. Let us of us gather. Let's read the Quran. What did the Quran say? What does the Hadith say? What does our Imam say? If there is any that we have difference of opinion, let us do the ijtihad on that issue, and we understand the position of Sharia. So inshallah, we will organize a session on how the Khilafah was destroyed. Well, all these things we are discussed that is still happening today is what led to the destruction of the Khilafah. Because the Kuffar penetrate the Muslim, they use the youths, they use tribal sentiment, they use you are from Mecca, that is where the Prophet was. Why will you consider Muslim from Turkey as a Muslim? And they destroy Islam from within. And they still plant it in hostile dates. And they introduce another system to us, democracy. You can imagine the way all of us suffer, Muslim candidates. Hey, this is our time. Do they even know that we exist now? They have used us, they have moved on. That is it. So we really need to come back, understand Islam the way it was, the way Rasulullah put it, and it is then we will be able to unite. And part of the division, like you mentioned, and everyone, that's the reason why they are having G20, group of 20 Muslim countries. And you can imagine what my brother just explained. All of them also see it, all those Muslim leaders, they also see it. But even until when Israel asked Egypt, open the Ramallah border for 20 trucks that carry food and drugs to get to Palestine, Egypt did not allow. They even positioned soldiers to shoot any Gaza that will come, because they consider that they are not Egyptians. So you can see. So it's our unity, the only solution that can bring us. So that is the issue of the Asabiyya. We need to understand the Meccan period when Rasulullah started building the Muslim, building the Sahaba, building the companion. When he got to Medina, we have the Jews in Medina now. Have you all forgotten? We have the Jewish tribe in Medina. Rasulullah was ruling over them, and he did not make them to drop their religion. Lakum dinukum waliyadin. That is Islam, and that is why even when they are bringing the Jews to Palestine, Muslims welcome them. They don't know that they are welcome people who will deal with them. So may Allah assist us. Inshallah, we will have another session to discuss that. And then, and you can see there is disconnection between leaders and followers. That is how you are going to know that the current system is a failure. Yes, well, if you look at the protests in Britain and you see how people roll out. Because, okay, United Nations, everybody are talking about international human rights. You are supporting Ukraine against Russia. But here now you are now supporting Israel against Palestine. And they were killing them, and you are saying they have the right. So, but the followers are saying that which kind of rule is this? If it is A, you use it. But when it gets to B, you change the law. Why? So the leaders of current day world, wallahi, inshallah, may Allah bring back the Khilafah. We are going to deal with them. Inshallah. Just like the Quraysh, when Rasulullah entered the Makkah back. Inshallah, we are going to deal with them. So, yes, what will be our responsibility now? In so many mosques, we have find the Imam pray for the people of Palestine. Yes, we have to pray for them. But just as the Palestinians have cried out, that yes, pray for us. We need the prayer, but it goes beyond the prayer. Well, it goes beyond the prayer. Because just like the survival instinct, all of us now by tomorrow, Monday, even today, we are going around to get the food we want to eat in our house. We do not just come to mosque, oh Allah, please provide food for us in our house. So while we pray, we also work it. We work the prayer. How do we work the prayer? It's for all of us here to begin to work around the unity of the Muslim. Because we don't know. It is the promise of Allah that's promised. The Khilafah will be established. It's just the time that we don't know. But works are ongoing everywhere, all over the world, to unite the Muslims. Because the way we are discussing it here, they are discussing it in Jordan, they are discussing it all over the world. And everybody is seeing the handwriting on the wall. Let's go to khilafah.com, the site. You see different countries where the Dawah has gathered momentum. People are talking to the generals in their army that you are a Muslim, you are the commander, you are a general in the army, and they are killing Muslims in Palestine. And because the president keeps silent, all of you also keep silent. You are watching your brothers. Allah will ask you. And this is touching their emotion, it's touching their personality. So we should be working towards the unity of the Muslims, because when the unity comes, we will break all this barrier of Chad, Burkina Faso, Sudan, and the whole thing. We are going to break it. So we should all, while we pray for the people of Palestine, we should also be working among the Muslims. 3 things we should do. Yes, we pray for them. Second is we sensitize the Muslims around what is going on in Palestine. Because some people think it is just Palestine and Israel, as if Nigeria and Niger are fighting. No, we have just highlighted 7 points why Palestine become a Muslim issue, Islamic issue, not just because they are Palestinian. So we sensitize the Muslim. And the third one is we preach and canvass this unity among the Muslims, having a single leader who will unify us and protect us.
Thank you. What you said, the only way to unite the Muslim brothers all over the world entirely is by establishing the Khilafah. And that is the unity of the Ummah. And that is how the Muslim lands can be what? Can be free from the Kuffar. And the Khilafah is not a mirage, as some people may think it's a mirage. And the fact that Khulafa or Rashidin are not the limit of the world of the Khulafa, like people think that Ali, Usman, and Muawiyah and say that is the end. We have so many more up to 90 something of Khulafa, and he mentioned the last Khalifa that was sent to exile, Abdul Rashid the second,
Abdul
Majid Sultan the second. Many of us do not actually know this. Before I ask my question, I was surprised yesterday. You know, one of the challenges we used to have as Muslims is the differences they created in us. Somebody said, I was surprised when I saw a Salafi brother. You know, there is this different misconceptions, understanding. When he was saying, this is the time for us, let's leave about the matter that concerns, maybe this one is Tariqa, this one is Shia, this one is, because it is a general thing now. The kuffar never know whether you are a Shia, whether you're a Sunni Muslim, whether you are this, whether you are that. Wallahi, their target is somebody that is carrying that flag in his head as a Muslim. So forget the differences. It is when the Khilafah is established that we will address this issue using Quran and what? And the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. And this is my question before the time goes. You said during the time of the Prophet Muhammad, when there was in Mecca, before the Prophet moved to Medina, somebody used that opportunity and brought a question, he rose a question that's relating, not Qiyas in this case, maybe it's Qiyas to his own side, that the Prophet will pass by the Ahl Yasir as Isbir ya Ahl Yasir, Isbir ya Ahl Yasir, be calm, be patient, right? And today, we should tell the people of Palestine, because they don't have guns, they don't have that power to face the Israelites. So what is that what should be telling we should be telling them now? Israel and Palestine. They should be subjected to that disaster, that killings, right? We should keep telling them. He is telling us. He's a Salafi brother. You know, when Salafi, you understand? He's telling us that we should be calm. Well, the whole Muslims should be calm and we should watch the Jew who are refugees massacred all over across the Europe, and I saw the picture and I even share it. Some of them with only boxer, they had no shoe. Some of them did not come with clothes, and now they become the landlord. And he's telling us that what the Muslims should do now is to tell the Palestinians, because they don't have this. And secondly, see a Muslim telling us that what the Palestinians are not true, their Islam is not strong. You see, I hope you get it. Their Islam is not strong. Some of them are Shia, some of them are this and that. See, there are questions, there are talks somebody will talk. You just feel like, what is actually going on with the Muslims? So, should we tell the people of the Palestine to calm down, Just the way the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told in Yasir that we can. That your approach is going to be what? Is going to be what? Paradise. So they should be calm too. Is that what we should tell them?
Subhanallah. Anyway, before I quickly come on something on one question that so many people have asked us, and it's around this issue of Shia, Sunni, and all these divisions. That but these people are non-Muslim. I'll give an illustration of what Imam Ghazali did. Because during his time, this division has also started creeping in, and they said, okay, bring the Shia and the Sunni, let us discuss, let us this thing. And it was reported why everybody had gathered, Ghazali, when he was coming, he gets to like the entrance like that, and he off his shoe, and he carry his shoe. You want to enter? Yeah, Imam, why are you carrying your shoe? He said, I don't want Shia to steal to steal my shoe if I enter. They said, why? Because I don't know, maybe during the time of Rasulullah, maybe the Shiites stole shoes. They said, but there is no Shia during the time of the Muslims. All of them are Muslims. Said, okay, so this is the discussion now. Why are we now labeling everybody Shiite and Sunni now? Let us discuss according to the Quran and Sunnah. You can imagine how he passed the message across to the people. Why would you say, hey, it is me and that I'm Ahlul Sunnah? Who are Ahlul Bidia? Yeah? We should all get into the Quran and Sunnah and discuss. And once from each Tihad process, we realize this one is haram. Everybody will know that it is haram. If you now decided to still be doing it, Allah will take care of it. So that's that. Now, the Makkah period and the Medina period. During the Makkah period, the Muslims were being persecuted. But the Muslims, they were given the right to defend themselves. And if they died in the course of defending themselves, they died as a martyr. It's the weak ones who cannot defend themselves. And that is why Rasulullah even had some of them to migrate to Abyssinia as at that time. And what Rasulullah did not approve of that time is unorganized people like saying, as the Boko Haram are saying, whether it is genuine, that they want to establish the Khilafah in the northeastern part of Nigeria. You understand? That some people will just gather themselves and say, hey, we want to go and fight and this thing, because it's not a way to bring about Islamic states. That is what Rasulullah was telling people. But you have the likes of Umar, who stood on his doorstep and bring out his sword and say, if they burn any of the Quraysh, well, come into my house. Even they don't call the Hadan loudly before. They will just be calling it silently. But people like Umar will go there and say, yeah, call it, let them come. And when they see him, they turn back. So as Muslims, the Palestinians have the right to defend themselves. And if they died in that cause, they died as a martyr. Now, about the fact that, they should allow Israel to be killing them. It's not Muslim. Muslims are, the Sharia did not tell us that when they slap you for the right face, you should turn your left face. You fight back to defend yourself. But to establish a nation, to establish governance, a political entity, it is until you have a state, when you have a ruler who organized you and who is ruling you. Because that's the only difference between Mecca period and Medina period. In Mecca period, everybody defend themselves. But when they got to Medina, Rasulullah was a religious leader and a political leader, because he also coordinated the affairs of the Jews, the non-Muslim in Medina as well. So Rasulullah now raised an army who fought the Meccan people, the Quraysh. But when Rasulullah and the Muslims were in Mecca, they defend themselves. So the Palestinians have the right to defend themselves. And my dear brothers, imagine the situation, the gory situation we explained about Gaza and the West Bank. If they defend themselves, they are going to die. If they defend themselves, Israel has planned on how they will die. So let's defend themselves, and if they die as a martyr. We get it now. So that illustration is a misplace of chaos for that person. Because what the people of Gaza are doing now is to defend themselves. Your family member is sick, no food, nothing, no drug, and you can't take him to the hospital. So you are just a living corpse waiting to die. The best thing is to defend yourself. If you cannot defend yourself, well, it's just the situation. So, but they have the right to defend themselves.
Inshallah, as a reminder, we have flyers outside. It's not for you. You are not paying for it. Just go and carry one. Inshallah, it's a platform where we talk about the reality of the lives of Muslims and in relation to what? To Sharia, the Quran, and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam for the betterment of the Muslim and in the here what after. Inshallah, we're not going to stop here today. We'll be calling on our brothers. We welcome you. We say that Jazakumullah khairan. May Almighty Allah reward you. And for the brothers that are here that have been answering our call, especially Muhammad Zakir and Alan Mahmoud, and so many other brothers, inshallah, pray that the Almighty Allah rewards you. Like he said the other time, that they enjoy the coming and they want to hear more about it. Knowledge is, no one is a, what do you call it, an highlight, or what do you call it?
Island of knowledge.
Highlight of knowledge. Knowledge is not limited in one particular place. We have read so many books. There are so many things we need to read. That's why the concept of ijtihad is in the Quran, meaning research. Most of us are afraid when we talk about Khilafah, that is the establishment of the Islamic State. Is it because we are under under colonialism? Maybe one day they'll come and throw bomb and say they from outside of their soldiers that are coming. It's untrue. But the establishment of the Khilafah is the solution to the Muslim Ummah, whether you like it or not, because that is the legacy the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam laid down. That is it. And the current one, the democracy, we can trace it back. Somebody that have lived, is there any person that lived 100 years back? When did they actually start? Right? And the fall of Khilafah was 1924, even though as at that time there was what? Weakness or decline of the Khilafah. But the solution to the problem of the Muslim Ummah is when we have Khilafah re-established. We pray that the Almighty Allah give us that zeal, give us that power, give us that opportunity. And when people say the establishment of Khilafah, they should not think maybe everywhere will just be Muslim things. People will be, you understand? They used to feel like there will be a problem, and the Christians too will not survive. We'll start killing the Christians, and it's kind of thinking like that. The Islamic State is a peaceful state that you even enjoy more economic solutions, social solutions of problem of mankind. Inshallah, we pray that the Almighty Allah give us the success for the establishment of Khilafah and liberate the land of the Palestine to the hand of the Muslim. So we're going to stop here. Is there any question online?
Okay. Kindly expatiate more. There's a question online.
Yeah.
Say, kindly expatiate more on the humanitarian reasons for Israel invasion of Palestine. Okay. Yes, somebody online posted this question that we should expatiate on the humanitarian reasons for Israel invasion of Palestine. Anyway, that is what we call humanitarian principle in the international realm. And the humanitarian principle is on the basis of leave no one behind. That is, provide the need of the people for them. So when they cannot do so. So now, Israel restricts humanitarian aid to enter into Gaza, Palestine. The reason is very simple. When humanitarian aid gets to the Palestinians will live the life of dignity, one, which Israel doesn't want them to live. But when they push them from northern Gaza to southern Gaza, and then they are providing humanitarian relief for them, the land of the northern Gaza automatically become part of Israel. Israel will extend their territory to cover the northern part of Gaza. And as we have said, among one of the solutions is one state. Let Israel be everywhere, and then the Palestinians just be a part of the citizenry. So the reason for the humanitarian this thing is one, they decide humanitarian access will not get to the Palestinians because Palestinian is not a recognized state. And more so, they want them to be perpetually in. Because when you are receiving humanitarian this thing, you don't have a seat. You just, whatever they bring to you, you take it. That let me just survive. So they want to reduce the dignity of the Palestinian. And the second thing is there must be a shock before humanitarian come in. So now the shock is they were attacking the Gaza and they asked the people of northern Gaza to move to the southern Gaza. So when they move there, that means they don't have anything to do, they don't have food, they don't have. So it is then they will say, okay, you can provide humanitarian support in the southern Gaza, and everybody from the northern Gaza, since they don't have food, they don't have drug, everybody will move to the southern Gaza. Then Israel will be able to extend their territory to northern Gaza. Because we told you how they have been expanding in the Palestinian territory. Initially, they just gave them like 20%, but they hand over the power to them. Now they have taken like almost 80% or 90% of the whole land. But their intent is to take everywhere. So that is the humanitarian this thing around how Palestinians are being treated and the reason why Israel is treating them that way, inshallah.
Inshallah, we're going to stop here. Maybe one other, any other day we'll call Brother Blanking. Brother Blanking, if you don't know him, I didn't introduce him to you. It's the world itself. It's the world. He's an international guy, inshallah.
You can see.
Yeah, you see.
It's clear.
May Almighty Allah reward you and grant you more knowledge. Stop with this one that Allah will defend. نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك.